Have you ever struggled to learn something because you couldn't figure out or get a good answer to why am I learning this? When am I going to use this? This is actually why, for me, helping people learn to make their own video games has been my secret weapon as an educator. See, the thing is, when you're building a project you care about, you'll go out of your way to overcome the obstacle if the obstacle is between you and your game having that cool feature you wanted to have. And I found that over the years, it's been a great way to get people to learn hard technical skills, digital creative abilities, project leadership, long-term schedule planning, a variety of soft and hard skills alike that are applicable and enriching to life, whether or not it becomes a part of their career. Some people it does, or it doesn't. It's just as worthwhile as playing a sport or playing an instrument in terms of our enrichment, building our confidence, adding new skills we can bring to our personal lives, our communities, and our peer groups. Now, for many years, I've been delivering at tremendous scale various means and content to help people do this. So I've got 350,000 people have actually gone through my free intro video course, Code Your First Game. 10 million people have watched my free YouTube videos, including demonstrations of how to program games in simple ways. 125,000 listens to my podcast interviewing 100 plus game developers from a wide variety of roles in the game industry have all been things that have been put out there for free over the years to help people get their foundations and get started in better understanding how to make games so they can use that to then become a point of entry into learning other skills that'll benefit them throughout their lives. Meanwhile, my primary career has actually been working with people in group training to build their own video games, to build their custom projects, because of the point at which after the beginning level, you can no longer do the paint by the numbers stuff, right? It's no longer exciting and incentivizing to keep copying steps from somebody else. And the worst part of that is that there's certain things you're only going to learn if you're exploring and following your own passions for what you want to build. So I've supported people by doing over 3,000 hours of one-on-one training where I'm on training calls just hour by hour throughout the weeks, working with people on what are you stuck on, what are you trying to do next, what problem are you trying to solve. Let me show you a few different techniques. Let me talk you through different pros and cons of ways you can approach this, and building their schedules, updating their schedules, soft skills, hard skills, teamwork, project leadership, all of the above I work with people on. Over the years, we've released 150 games this way in the past 7 years with big old teams and people around the world working together in a variety of places and backgrounds and skill levels. And you'll see these pins. The gold pins are members who've become project leads. Blue pins are contributors to those projects. And they're all just member-led. And they all release on time. And you can play them all. They're all freeware because they're just made for practice and for fun and for enrichment. And it's a supportive community I've been careful to curate and grow and develop and foster, where people help each other out and understand that we're all here to learn. We've been remote now since 2016, fully remote well before the pandemic. We're digitally native about how we approach this, so we're available to people who are anywhere in the world. But here's where you come in. See, the resources I've released that are downloadable, I've been able to release at scale. In many cases, free or very low cost for the effort and time put into them. But when it comes to that one-on-one training that I'm doing, that's hours of my time. Plus, I also literally pay people to help onboard people to improve the odds of success they're going to have in our program. I pay other industry experts in level design, UX, sound effects, game art, 2D and 3D, some career trainers and otherwise to help support members in our program. And over the years, we've had over 100 people now go through our program who never paid a dime, didn't owe a thing. And it's as simple as when they apply, they can check a box that says, I couldn't pay these dues. Now, there's a variety of reasons why people are in that spot. Sometimes they live somewhere where PayPal is not supported. Sometimes they live somewhere where the US dollar is so much stronger that what is a fair and reasonable price in the US is just unrealistic even for somebody who's reasonably employed there. In other cases, it's people who live in the United States, but because of a variety of circumstances and situations just aren't able to pay, but could really use it. And I think it's been really beneficial to our community to be able to have a lot of members take part from a wider range of backgrounds and cultures and life situations, working together on projects, solving problems together. And so what makes this possible is that the sponsorships that you provide here on Patreon divide out into the minimal overhead I can possibly have and still not be at a growing loss when I'm working with these people. It doesn't have profit built in. In some months, it might even dip down, but I've kind of tried to do the math on, well, okay, well, if it's this amount per person, I'm not getting myself in trouble as long as it's in proportion to your support here on Patreon of the number of applications of people who apply, who we can let in at, again, no cost to them. A bit about my background. My first 10 years was as a game development hobbyist, just making dozens of freeware games. I then worked as a technical game designer on some console games for Electronic Arts, was an early hire at a Silicon Valley Games startup that later sold to PopCap, which sold to EA. After that, I made a top-selling iPhone game, now many years ago, and I was actually one of the first 5 game developers in the original list of Forbes 30 Under 30. That was a new list. They contacted me. Nobody knew what this was yet at the time. But I've taken all of that energy into helping embrace more people learning to make their own video games. And with your help, I can help even more people get started way beyond what we can do in just pre-made materials into working directly with more people as they can schedule calls with me and our other support trainers in HomeTeam GameDev. At the time of this video, there's about 15% of our membership takes part through this full sponsorship. No dues owed on their part. Instead, costs covered by friendly strangers and supportive people on Patreon. But there's more people on the waitlist who've applied who would like to take part, but can't because those spots are still happily in use. With your support, we can have more people in parallel in the program at no cost to themselves. Now, we keep very private which members are and aren't sponsored, so we don't disclose to anybody. We consider financial information private. And so for that reason, I won't share specific details or names on the testimonials, but you'll see some examples on this page of where we've really had a major impact in people's lives. We've had people who've come through our program who they had no college education whatsoever, had no programming experience, and then just through participating in our program, found their first programming gig. Not necessarily in games, but their first programming job, which is not bad for having no comp sci credentials or related degree or programming experience until they got involved with us. But again, that's not the only reason to do it. For learning through game development is often it's a good fit for people who maybe traditional learning wasn't a great fit. Maybe they actually didn't have a good time in math class or science class or high school in general. But it's actually, because it's got a craft building with your hands element, it's a little bit more like a wood shop. It's a little bit more, you're making a thing. And if and when there's a part where I don't know how to do blank, that's when the question arises. And then I train them. They schedule calls with me. I work with them one-on-one and let's learn how to do the thing that you ran into. So next time you encounter this problem, you're better set up to do it for yourself. And it's not just about technical skills like programming. It's not just about digital skills that are in terms of hard assets like sound and music and art creation, although we do those things too and provide support for that. It also is in a variety of soft skills about being comfortable presenting for their team updates, about building and adapting long-term schedules, about navigating team communications, working with people with different backgrounds than them. And again, these are things I think are enriching and valuable for everybody, regardless of their plans in life or career path. We've seen great results from it. And with your help, I can do it for even more people. And although it's not directly structured into the sponsorship program, it's also something where I'm constantly looking for opportunities and have been for many years, advising schools, guest speaking at school programs at no cost to them, being involved with the beginner-friendly conferences, festivals, organizers, nonprofits, anything I can do to get out there and help more people get started on building their own games, whether it's career-related, whether it's just for personal development and enrichment. But I want to thank you in advance for your support in helping me help people along their way in their journey to learn how to build the games they want to build, to learn the skills they want to learn, to advance their lives and careers the way they want to do it.